Good morning everyone. This is Kamikawa Kaolin. Lie like exhaling. It is a word that accurately expresses the state of the outer road, telling lies without any confusion. In the last video, counterfeit, forged, and bribes related to Korean military equipment are not at the level of the nuclear power plant. I have previously reported that it is a hotbed of fraud, but what about Korean architecture? 1. Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest skyscraper in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, height 828 meters. 163 stories. Construction is done by Samsung C&T Corporation of South Korea. Belgium's largest construction company, Besix, Arabtech, specializes in skyscrapers in the United Arab Emirates. I was in charge of forming a joint venture with 2. Singapore Resort Hotel, Marina Bay Sands, 200 meters high, 57 stories. Structure connected on the roof. Construction is Sangyong Construction in South Korea, but went bankrupt in 2012, 2 years after construction. 3. The skyscraper, Petronas Twin Towers, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Hazama of Japan and Samsung C&T of South Korea undertook one building each. The tallest skyscraper of the 20th century, it is 88 stories high and 452 meters high. It was built by Malaysia's national oil company Petronas. Despite having such a spectacular track record in recent years, the status of the Korean construction industry in the world has plummeted. The ranking of global competitiveness of the construction industry, after the inauguration of the Moon Jae-in administration, as it plummeted from 6th place in 2016 to 12th place in 2018. Looking at the 2018 report cards of other countries, the United States ranked first as in the previous year. After that, China, Spain, Germany, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Japan. Until now, South Korea has increased the order record by bidding at low prices prepared for the deficit. After coming here, delays in the construction period and cutout work have surfaced. 1. Korea Yonhap News Agency. On May 12, 2015, it was reported that a 7-story building under construction suddenly tilted in Asan, central part of the country. According to the Japanese version of the Jungang Ilbo, the reason for the inclination is, it is said that the cause is the cut-out work of the foundation that did not follow the design. Just as safety measures are being asked in the sinking accident of the passenger ship Sewol, the Korean media also competed and reported that sloppy management was discovered. In the past too, in October 1994, the central part of the Sungsu Bridge over the Han River in the capital Seoul, it collapsed suddenly over a length of 48 meters. Construction began in April 1977 and was completed 2 years later in October 1979. However, only 15 years later, on October 21, 1994, the central part of the bridge suddenly collapsed over about 50 meters. Passenger cars and the 16th city bus belonging to Hansei Transport were involved. 32 people were killed and 17 were seriously injured. The cause is 1. The central hanging girder was hung from a steel truss. Welding failure of the suspension member with eye-shaped cross-section is considered to be the main cause. 2. There is a cut-out work on the surface of the fillet weld and the splicing plate that can be seen by visual inspection. It seems that the construction management and inspection method at the time of construction of Sungsu Bridge was remarkably sloppy. 3. Calcium chloride that was sprayed to prevent road surface freezing. Salt permeates into cracks on the steel surface due to poor welding and stress corrosion. It may have accelerated the corrosion of steel materials. 4. Since the cross-sectional shape of the suspended steel material lacked a relaxation curved surface to alleviate stress concentration, it is possible that an unexpected partial crack had occurred on the surface of the steel material. 5. There is no mistake in the design, but it is possible that the immature construction level was not fully assumed. 6. There was no technical standard for maintenance and repair during the operation of Sungsu Bridge. 7. During the operation of Sungsu Bridge, regular inspections could not be performed due to financial resource budget restrictions. 8. There was no fact-finding survey and inspection criteria regarding increases in traffic load. 9. There were no technical inspection standards for bridge maintenance and welding. 10. There was no bidding contract system to accurately select the contractor. 11. Even in important social infrastructure facilities such as the main roads in Seoul, there was a hectic social trend to build faster and cheaper. However, there is no doubt that the cause is the cut-out work. 3. In June 1995, Sampoong department store in South Korea suddenly collapsed during business hours. It was a catastrophe that left 502 dead and 937 injured. Sanho Department Store is a luxury department store that opened in December 1989. The exterior is painted pink, probably to give it a luxurious feel. At that time, it was crowded with shoppers. However, it collapsed just 6 years after it opened. It was the worst accident in Korean history, with 502 dead, 937 injured and 6 missing. Originally it was supposed to be a commercial building with 4 floors above ground and 4 floors below ground. The management side, Sampoong side, when I proposed to the subcontractor, let's add another floor to the ground to make it a department store. It was this department store that was rejected but forcibly built. And at the time of construction, the pillars are thin to make it look beautiful. The strength of the building itself has decreased due to the removal of pillars, because the large air conditioner, 87 tons, was moved to the other side on the roof. There is a load on the roof and around the pillars on the 5th floor. It is said that the decrease in strength is the cause of the collapse. A few days before the accident, an employee reported a crack in the ceiling to his boss. Nevertheless, the department store continued to operate, resulting in the involvement of many people. Moreover, oil cans were packed instead of reinforcing bars. The cement used during construction was of poor quality. The amount of reinforcing bars to be inserted was small. It was a sloppy architecture that was unthinkable in Japan. 4. In July 2002, a part of the roof of Jeju World Cup Stadium was blown away by a strong wind. 5. At a stadium in Malaysia in 2009, an accident occurred in which the roof that a Korean company was involved in construction suddenly collapsed. Fortunately, there was no human damage because it was a time when the audience was not in, but even in Malaysia, there were criticisms saying, is it just looking good and safety is secondary? 6. According to South Korea Yonhap News Agency on August 29, 2016, the accident that the roof of a building suddenly collapsed in Jinju, a town in southern Korea, killed 2 workers. It is believed that the cause was the forced removal of the inner wall of the dilapidated building. On the morning of the 28th, the roof of the 3-story building next to the Jinju Intercity bus terminal suddenly collapsed during the renovation work. This building is 44 years old. The first floor is a store, and the second and third floors are yoinsk. It was used as a simple accommodation facility called, to use the accommodation on the 3rd floor for other purposes. Reconstruction work including the removal of the inner wall was underway. According to police, the roof collapsed due to the work of cutting the inner wall in half. On the building ledger, this building made of reinforced concrete, it is highly likely that the rebar was not used properly. Although the collapsed roof had reinforcing bars, no reinforcing bars have been found in the remains of the walls and columns on the 3rd floor. In addition, a temporary room was built on the rooftop where the installation time was unknown without notification to the local government. The police are jointly with the National Forensic Service, the Facility Safety Corporation, and Jinju City. We are proceeding with detailed on-site verification. 7. September 1996. A bridge built by a Korean company collapsed in Palau, killing and injuring 6 people. In 1977, by the Korean construction company Socio, a concrete bridge was built between Koror Island and Babeldaob Island. By design, it was supposed to withstand storms and tremors with a wind speed of 67 meters. In addition, in the contractor selection bid, Socio made a successful bid by offering a bid price of half the price of Kojima Construction. 10 years after construction, the midline of the bridge began to bend 1.2 meters down, so in 1990, Louis Berger International and the Japan International Cooperation Agency conducted a survey. The bridge was rated safe. The big deflection is the elastic modulus of creep in concrete. I was diagnosed as having a lower than expected cause. After many repairs and reinforcements by companies in each country in 1990, the Palauan government opted for $2.3 million in reinforcement work. However, at around 1735 on September 26, 1996, suddenly it broke in half from the center with a roaring sound and collapsed, killing 2 people and injuring more than 4. The Palauan government immediately tried to claim compensation from the South Korean contractor who built the bridge. By this time, the company had already disbanded and had no clue. This construction company, in 1994, it is said that he was also the contractor who constructed the collapsed bridge, Sungsu Bridge, in Seoul. Anyway, the Palauan government was at a loss, but Japan first assisted in the construction of the temporary bridge. With Japan's Oda official development assistance, a new bridge of about 3 billion yen will be built free of charge. The construction was done by Kojima Construction Co., Limited. You can see how Korea is an irresponsible country. 8 In July 2018, auxiliary dam of hydroelectric dam, Sepan Sonam Noi Dam, collapsed in Laos. There were 40 dead, 66 missing, and more than 6,000 victims. According to a private sector survey, 800 people are dead or missing. You can see how terrible the accident was. May 29, 2019, according to Newsys, South Korea about the dam failure accident that occurred in Laos last July. The results of the survey were announced, saying that it was a man-made disaster, not a natural disaster. According to the article, the Lao government is a hydroelectric dam about the reason why a part of the auxiliary dam of Sepan Sonam Noi Dam collapsed. A water leak occurred in the earth and sand layer, which is the foundation of the dam, and it did not function properly. The balance of the auxiliary dam was lost and it collapsed in an arc shape. The article says, the Lao government officially said that this accident was admitted that it was caused by a poor construction of SK Construction in South Korea. On the other hand, SK Construction, there are many parts that I disagree with because there is no scientific or engineering basis, he said. Company officials, if it collapses in an arc due to water leakage, sediment outflow should have been witnessed at the bottom of the dam before the accident, but that is not the case. It is said that it insists. The company has always said, the dam did not collapse, but the river overflowed due to an unusual heavy rain. The upper part of the auxiliary dam was unavoidably leaked. The Lao government's Special Mission National Relief Committee has given dam developers to each family of 71 officially declared dead or missing. I ordered you to pay $10,000. The amount is much better than the US $176 originally offered last August. This is still not enough. In addition to this, the business operator provided $800,000 for temporary housing. $10 million to fund relief efforts. Separately, SK Construction has donated $10 million. With these funds, 20 kilograms of rice and US $11.66 a month for displaced persons due to floods. In addition, I am given food equivalent to US 58 cents per day. There is not enough food supply. There is a big problem for reconstruction. Due to safety concerns, survivors will move from their original lowlands to the dry hillsides. I can't live on rice farming like I used to. We will make cassava potatoes, which are the raw material for tapioca. The cashability is good, but due to fluctuations in market conditions, the life of the community has changed. Above all, I cannot be self-sufficient in food. I don't think it's enough compensation just in terms of money. Even if the hydraulic work is done in earnest, the foundation for continuing rice cultivation should be improved. South Korea itself is still irresponsible, shouting to Japan that it is an apology and compensation. Why are these problems repeated? Familiar with the Korean construction industry, Akira Rokuhara, a visiting researcher at the Institute of Construction Economics, said, in South Korea, the multi-layered structure of prime contractors, subcontractors, and subcontractors has become a serious problem. A similar problem was once pointed out in Japan, but the level of stratification is different in South Korea. There are some restrictions on subcontracting, but in reality, there are 7th contracts, 8th contracts, and so on. Following the accident at Sungsu Bridge and Sanho Department Store, laws such as the Construction Industry Basic Law were revised. It is not protected at all in the field. As competition between traders progresses and working conditions deteriorate, in an attempt to raise the cost of materials, we end up doing cutout work that could lead to a major accident. The desire to become a developed country is ahead. The background is a superficial sense of luxury and a tendency to pursue only newness. Appearance equipment Mie is prioritized over safety. The ghost skin of the Haribo nation is being peeled off little by little. By the way, many Japanese construction company office workers are assigned to work alone. I will return to Japan when the project is over. However, the salaryman of a Korean construction company, even if I move overseas with my family and the project is over, it remains in the field as it is and connects with government officials. Japanese general contractor official. Adhesion, with the local authorities. Even if a personal injury occurs at a construction site, there are cases where the authorities do not dispose of it. It is said to be a hotbed of special treatment. Repeating lies, fabrications, bribes, and adhesions to sloppy site management, unless the custom is stopped, the Korean construction industry will not be trusted by the world. I affirm, lie like exhaling, the Japanese, and people all over the world, should never forget this word. Don't be fooled by Korean lies. That's all.